The X-Fed, bringing the Moriarti Arms here to light. This is the AR40, so we have 40 caliber here. What's happening with it, it fired fine when I first received it, a couple rounds, so forth. Haven't really fired it much. As my other videos show, it tends to fire in burst mode from time to time, 2, 3 rounds. Sometimes it'll fire 1, trigger won't reset, trigger fails to reset. So after looking at it real closely, taking the trigger out, I come to discover that the disconnector is out of whack. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Apparently the hammer is traveling too far back. So either the recoil spring needs to be changed out. I have a regular carbine length recoil spring here to swap that out, slow down the buffer. Correction, slow down the bolt carrier group. Seems to be coming back too fast, too hard. And I also have a, from Primary Arms, I have an Anderson Arms trigger and hammer. And the hammer, you'll see, is not your traditional style hammer. It typically comes in the AR. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up and show you what I found. Take down pins. Alright, put that off to the side. No problem there. There we are. Let's go ahead. I don't know if you can see from right there. See the shiny part on the disconnector here. Right in here. That shiny part is actually from the hammer traveling so far back, it's actually pushed that disconnector down and actually has caused it. It's almost got a cutout in it. And I'll show you when I take it out. Let's take apart this hammer and go from there. Get this hammer off first. That pin out, and hold that hammer down, and remove this punch, take the trigger off there. Alright, it's your traditional AR style hammer on here. So it's got a little shine to the end of it there. So no real damage to it, but it does have a shine to it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here on the trigger. So let's take a look at the trigger down there, and you'll see on the disconnector. Pull that pin out. Take this out, this punch out. Let's remove that disconnector. And let's get the trigger. There's your trigger. So trigger seems to be fine. No visible damage or anything to the trigger itself. Nothing on there. Trigger seems to be fine. Let's go to the disconnector. you look at the disconnector, and you'll see right there, look at that. Like a chunk has been taken out of it. It's swelled up on the sides here. So it's swelled on the sides from the hammer pushing down on there. Yeah. So it's actually caused a nice indentation in the disconnector, pushing it down, causing it to malfunction. So we're going to go ahead and replace that, and possibly, hopefully, once we take it to the range of switching out the actual spring on the buffer, we'll see if that slows it down now. So we'll put this one off to the side, and let's try the new kit here from Primary Arms. So this kit does come with your hammer, your trigger, your disconnector, you got your trigger spring, and you got your hammer spring, your disconnector spring, and your 2 roll pins. So it's all in there. So let's take a quick look again. Let's compare these disconnectors here. And sorry, it's black on black here. Let's put them on the gloves here. Take a good look at them. So there's your 2 disconnectors. You can see this is the damaged one on the bottom. So there's the part that's swelled up. It's chewed up. They're about the same thickness, so it looks like they're both fall under the mil spec guidance. Let's put that off to the sides. Thank you, Moriarti Arms, for testing your firearms. Just using regular 40 cal ammo, nothing special. So let's see how. Let's go ahead and put this thing back together. Trigger on there, trigger spring. Alright. So let's go ahead and put this trigger spring on here. Let's go ahead and put this trigger spring and trigger back on. Okay, let's put this thing together here. Alright, so we have the trigger spring on there. Alright, that was our disconnector spring here. Okay. And here's our hammers. So, our hammer here comes in weighing in just a little, slightly less than your traditional hammer. It doesn't have that big piece coming down that was striking, hitting the disconnector. See, so big difference on your hammers there. So I'm not going to have this piece here coming down and striking it. It's not something that's actually needed. So let's go ahead and put this thing together. And so we got our hammer spring on there, just like that. Alright, so alright, so now we got the trigger spring and the trigger back. Let's go ahead and undo this pistol grip here a little bit, loosen it up so we can get that safety off there. This all the way. Gotta get that detent out. Alright, so there's the spring, the grip, the spring, and there's the detent right there. So, got the detent. I'm going to take that safety out. Go ahead and put that trigger spring in. The trigger and trigger spring. Alright, so let the trigger in. Alright, let's get that disconnector. Here's the disconnector spring. We're going to get that fat end on the bottom portion. Put the disconnector. There's the trigger. Do that first here. Alright. So we got our disconnector spring in there. Trigger's in. Disconnector. We got one of the roll pins here. Put that on there. I don't have a slave pin, so I'll do this by just holding it down. Put that smooth end in first. Punch here as a guide. Got that all the way through. Push this in just slightly. Alright, so we got the trigger in there. Go ahead and get the hammer in. And where's my hammer roll pin? It's right here. Alright, so let's get that in there. Sorry if my hands are in the way some. Get the spring over it. Push down. Guide it. It's actually in there. Anything here. Make sure we got everything lined up here. Put a little pressure on here. There we go. A little pressure. And it's even. And let's get the safety back on here. Alright, now that I got the hammer in there, the safety's back on here, I'm going to go ahead and get that detent, get this pistol clip back on. Everything's on there smooth. So let's go ahead and get this detent in there. That spring. Spring right on there. everybody's favorite, getting the screw back in that hole. There we go. Get that spring right in there. Stay upside down there. Screw in here. Spring in there. Yeah, it's a little tricky with gloves here. Look at that. Yeah, if not, I'd get grease stuff all over my hands. Yeah. So let's just put it up a little bit. Detent in there. Alright, springs in, detents in. Alright, let's turn that down. This is the fun part. This is the fun part. So it's definitely an issue with these smaller calibers, these pistol carbines. I guess the blowback style, there's no gas here, so let's make sure this safety works. Alright, safety's on, hammer's back, that's on fire, hold it down, goes forward. Let's try to reset. Locks into place, got to reset. Got another trigger point. Alright, make sure this is nice and tight. Alright, it's all nice and tight. Now, show you the buffer spring here, the difference. So here's our buffers, 2 buffer springs. This out of the way so you can see. Alright, so we have the one that came with this firearm, and here's the carbine spring. Carbine spring's just a little bit longer, a little thicker. So, but it seems like that bolt is just coming so far back. May eventually have to go to a heavier style buffer, but let's see if this slows it down, and with that hammer not having this on here, it won't hit that disconnector and cause it to basically have burst or fail to reset, because this damage is pretty wild. I've never seen a disconnector damage like that. Hopefully you guys can pick it up on camera there. That's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Look at that. It's swelled up on the side there. You can see. So that hammer is coming down pretty hard to do that. So wondering what the hell is going on. Let's take a good look at that disconnector, and that's what I found. So hopefully it takes care of the problem. So let's put this carbine length spring in there. Brand new. Alright, we got that in there. Alright. Alright, make sure these gold pins are out. Down pins. Put it back together there. Alright, do a quick functions check. Bolts lock to the rear. Let that go forward. Actually, it feels good coming back, like there's some resistance. Not too heavy, it's not too easy, so that's good. Place on fire. Okay, we're safe, we're good. Got a hammer fall. Reset. And try. Alright, so it looks like we're good to go. So the next video I'm going to make is taking it out to the range and trying it out and see what happens. Yeah, but this is fun to fire when it works. It really is fun. So with Moriarti Arms really not reaching out to me and answering any of my questions, so I'm going to have to do this myself and figure it out. So again, it's the X-Fed. Knowing is half the battle, and hopefully this helps some of you guys out that may have some similar issues. And we'll see you down at the range.